Hi, my name is Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here at Matsuricon 2014 with Mr. Erik Kimerer. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right, so how did you get started in the world of entertainment?
The world of entertainment. I will give my love to the man himself. Robin Williams was my biggest inspiration into it, yes. When I was young, I would watch all the Disney movies and cartoons, and you'd never really think about the actor behind them, but his was the first voice I was able to go, oh, no, I know who that is. And then Mrs. Doubtfire came out, and not an accurate representation of voiceover, but he did play an actor in there, and I got to kind of have that realization of, oh no, people do this for a living. This is a job I want. So I've always been very interested in it from the beginning. And then I took an elective theater class. I never thought to go into acting. My parents wanted me to do science or law enforcement or something like that, stable. But I did an elective theater class, fell in love with it, and it just kind of snowballed ever since.
All right, cool. So it says you're from the Pacific Northwest. How are you enjoying your time here in the Midwest, or some of us call the Great Lakes, or the East Coast? We're really weird here in Ohio with where we are in the world.
I'm really enjoying it. This is my first time in Ohio or in the Midwest in general. People here are really, really friendly. I was kind of weary about it because everybody tells me there's not much to do in Ohio. So I was like, oh, this is the only time I can really say I'm excited to go to Ohio. No offense. But I having a lot of fun here. This is my first time at a convention that's not even in familiar territory, because I had been going to conventions prior to Anime Expo, Anime LA, Sakura-Con before even being a voice actor or getting into the industry. And I've been invited there as a guest as well, so it was really cool to be in a familiar territory. But now I'm out here in completely uncharted waters. It's really fun. I'm enjoying the new experience of it.
Alrighty, so it says in your bio that you are in Sword Art Online. How is it being in that show, knowing it's going to be getting a second season, and it's also going to be one of the newest shows to be put on Toonami's relaunch block?
Yeah.
Like, how was all that going?
It was absolutely incredible. It was so cool to be able to tweet out, I'm going to be on Cartoon Network. I mean, knowing it had a second season didn't affect me so much because my character didn't last very long. And it was a 2-hour recording session. My character got done in half an hour, so they were just like, here, have all these characters that die. Just start dying. So whenever you hear a big battle scene, and one of my screams is in there, I'm sure. So I would love to be in the second season if there's a character that fits me, but I know it's not going to be the same one.
We'll hope. It says in your bio that you were taught by Japanese voice actors for dubbing of anime.
Yes.
How'd that process go, and how did that all happen? That's really super rare, by the way,
yes,
that somebody taught you that works in the Japanese field. I'm just shocked in general. How did that all go?
I usually like to joke. It's the ancient Japanese secret of voiceover kind of thing. No, I got it through a newsletter for Sakura-Con. They send out this blast saying there's a Japanese voice actress looking for students in Seattle, and this was the first time I really thought, oh, well, I love anime, and this is the first kind of spark that said, okay, this is possible to be a job. So the Japanese method. The Japanese method is very different than the American method of recording, because they have multi-mic setups where the actors are in the booth together and they rehearse, and I know I'm really jingling today. Yeah. Whereas in America, we do it one line at a time, one person in the booth at a time. Yeah, and I rather prefer the Japanese method because I like to react off of people. Yeah, it's so cool because one of my favorite stories to tell, I talked to the Japanese voice actor for Ichigo Kurosaki in Bleach.
Oh.
Yeah, and what they'll do in the studio is they'll have 2 or 3 microphones. Everybody will have this blocking memorized where they'll all have to sit down, get up, go to the microphone. Yeah. You can find some really cool videos of it on YouTube. I recommend it. And in Bleach, they had a scene with 18 actors in the booth at once, 2 microphones, and one of them was dedicated to the actor for Ichigo. So 17 people had to cycle through another microphone. Insanity. Having to coordinate, it's like herding cats, because actors are just so out in their own world. Yeah.
I say because Scott McNeil, one of your other North Pacific Westerns, he talks about how when he does prelay, he can't stop laughing sometimes. Well, because they do the same way in prelay.
Yeah.
So it was really fun. Now it also says that you worked in Skullgirls. How was it like working alongside Daniel McCrae and Christina V and Christina Marie Cabanos? I mean, look at all the people that are here in Skullgirls, and that you're like, hey, I'm one of the few guys that is in the whole thing. So what was it like working with all the lovely ladies?
It was really cool. Christina and I have known each other for a while, and she's the director as well. So yeah, she called me and 3 of my friends in to do the egrets, and I had known about Skullgirls for a bit because my roommate is Sarah Williams. Yeah, we've lived together for a long time. Yeah, and I knew about it, and they were all friends with all the creators and everybody because it was such an indie project and such a close-knit project, which was really cool. And to be pulled into something like this, it's so phenomenal because Skullgirls, I'm not a fighting game person, but everybody tells me Skullgirls is the one to try out, and I can see why. It has such a loving fan base, and the people who created it love it so much, and you can tell with the work they've done.
Awesome. Now, another hit show that you got to be in was Magi, The Labyrinth. How has the fan reaction been to that series? Because I had a couple friends that I said, yeah, I'm interviewing Alibaba. They're like, what? Yeah, we need to go. I was like, it's potential. So yeah, I had a couple friends that were like,
that is the great thing about it, is that Magi has such a loving fan base. I mean, it's done a lot better overseas in Japan, but even still, we have such a great fan base that loves the show, loves the characters, and they're great characters. I really can't describe it because it's such a cool adventure to go on with Alibaba. Yeah, I always love those characters that have that long journey to them, long development. And prior to Haruyuki and Alibaba, I was just doing kind of one-episode characters or stuff like that. So to be able to have something more substantial and something with such a fun character, loyal, fierce, intense, I love every bit of it. And I'm so glad that we're in the 2nd season now, and we're recording at the moment. I'm actually going to be flying back in tonight and going straight to the booth tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, in your bio, it says that you're a fan of your craft. What older anime and video games would you say are some of your favorites? Because I'm guessing you're close to my age as well. So you and I are going to have some really good classics like StarCraft, the original, some good old Blizzard the original Warcrafts.
Yes.
And that type of stuff. I mean, the original Mega Man X's when they were coming out, like all those. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and the original animes that we grew up with on Toonami of Gundam Wing, Sailor Moon, and the original Dragon Ball Z. So, which one would you say is, like, not of the list I just gave, but what would you say of some of your classic 90s and 80s video game anime that you and I grew up on?
Okay, I will say Dragon Ball Z for one, because that was one of my biggest introductions. Actually, Cardcaptor Sakura was another introduction of mine. I love that show. Cowboy Bebop, of course, classics, and Hellsing. I'm friends with with Taliesin, the director of Hellsing. He is such a cool guy, and he tells me these amazing behind-the-scenes little tidbits, like he snuck in his key on piano wire for a sound effect, which is the TARDIS effect, essentially. So we're all nerds in this industry, and yeah. As far as video games go, StarCraft especially. I played a lot of Counter-Strike when I was in high school, a lot of Counter-Strike. But my favorite game of all time, I will always say, is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Yes, I am a huge Zelda nut. I've read Hyrule Historia front and back 50 times back. It is one of the coolest lores, I think, in video game.
I have that book too. I got it off of Amazon. I was like, it was.
I cosplayed as Majora's Mask at one point recently. Yeah, there's this really cool masquerade ball in Los Angeles called the Labyrinth of Jareth, based off of the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie. And it's this high fantasy masquerade ball that happens usually around Anime Expo. And this year was on my birthday, so I decided to get together a Majora's Mask cosplay and go around. It was really cool. It was really fun.
That's awesome. I love that. So are there any upcoming projects you want fans to know about? I know you got those pesky NDAs you got to sign. So yes. anything you want fans to know about that are currently available? Obviously, like we said, Magi, yes. and some of the other stuff. So anything else you want to pimp out for your fans?
Well, yes, Magi Season 2 is being recorded, so definitely take a look at that. And I can't say who, but there are some really cool people coming on board as far as characters and actors and stuff. And Tales of Xillia 2 was just released. Yes, I'm peppered throughout as a couple of characters in the cutscenes, and I think I'm an optional boss. I can't remember. Because sometimes when you go into these booths, it's incidental characters and stuff. Because video game casts are so huge. They're especially JRPGs. They have such a wide list of characters. Yeah. But that just came out, and Blood Lad also just recently. Yeah, my third Yuki Kaji role. Anybody who doesn't know, two of my previous characters, aside from Blood Lad, Haruyuki Arita and Alibaba, were both by Yuki Kaji, who also does Eren in Attack on Titan. Yeah, whenever they need somebody to scream or cry, they just get him. Or me now. So.
Alrighty, now is there any way that fans can keep up with you on the net, such as a Facebook, Twitter, anything like that?
Yes, I am on Twitter at Kimerer, which is Ekimerer, and I also just started a Facebook fan page at Erik Scott, and it will be under Erik Scott VO, I believe, or Erik Scott Vox, or something like that. Yeah, I might be using that as a stage name because, as you can tell, trying to pronounce my last name,
it's fun.
It's a challenge, yes. It's an exercise in itself. Like, I can go warm up by saying my last name a couple of times or something.
And a final message you want to get out to all your wonderful fans out there.
Thank you. It is because of you I am able to do this. This is something that I love so much, and I can't tell you how incredible it is an experience to meet all of you and hear how much this has affected you. I love it, every bit of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Erik. Thanks for coming out and talking with us. Thank you so much.